Cowboys-Niners is just 5 days away, the 8th playoff meeting all time between the two best NFC franchises all time, both with 5 Super Bowl championships. And the man who led the Cowboys in those 3 NFC title games in the 90s, Troy Aikman, joins us now. Troy, I know you and Joe Buck will enjoy Philly and Tampa on Sunday, and Jim Nantz and Tony Romo will do a great job for sure. But honestly, does it feel a little bit wrong that it's not you and Joe doing Cowboys-Niners?
Well, it just seems a little odd. I don't know. Last I knew, Fox had the NFC package, so it seemed a little strange. At one time, I thought that ESPN may get the Cowboys or NBC or somebody besides. Never imagined that it would be a CBS game, and it's going to be a great game. So from that standpoint, it would have been awesome to call it. But then I also feel that with the history that the Cowboys have with San Francisco and me having been a part of some of those games, I guess it hurts even a little bit more.
When you think Cowboys-Niners, where does your mind first go?
Championships, the championship games that we played against each other, such a great rivalry. We knew when we played each other in the regular season, whoever won that game was going to be hosting the game in the playoffs in the championship game, and then whoever won the championship game was going to go on to win the Super Bowl. So 2 really great teams. It's almost like Lakers Celtics back in the day, and it was a really great rivalry for the 3 or 4 years that we had it.
Those games really were the Super Bowl those years because of the caliber of those 2 teams. How head and shoulders above the rest, really, were those Dallas and San Francisco teams?
Well, there were 5 teams or so each year that we thought had a chance to go all the way. There wasn't as many outliers as there is this year that would, or in recent years anyway, that would come out of nowhere and win the division and then make a run in the postseason. And the Giants were a really good team. Washington was a good team. Philadelphia was, but for that matchup with San Francisco, especially the first championship game that we had against them, they were a veteran team, a lot of players that had not only been in the postseason, but had also played in Super Bowls. And we were the youngest team in football. And so when we went to Candlestick, we thought we were a pretty good team. We came out of Candlestick knowing we were a real good team. And that's when kind of the balance of power got shifted a little bit, and we were every bit the equal of San Francisco, and up until that point, not many teams had been.
Your 3 games in the 90s, obviously the catch in '82, 3 games in the '70s. Is there a better playoff rivalry in the history of the NFL?
Probably not. I mean, not offhand that I can think of. I think because it goes through multiple generations, and it started, of course, with the catch and the history of that play and what it meant to both franchises. And then when we then played San Francisco and what was at stake, and then that continued for several years. So I think that when we look at this matchup, neither team has done what the other had done. For instance, San Francisco, when we played them, they had already kind of established themselves as the big kids on the block. We were the up and comers, and neither Dallas or San Francisco in this matchup has really proven what they're capable of doing. It'll be interesting because I do think both of these teams are really good, and I think both these teams are capable of going all the way and winning it all this year. But when we look back, will this be a defining game that kind of sets the course for one of these franchises or the winner of this game?
When I talked with Charles Haley yesterday, he described it as a hate-hate relationship. How would you describe it?
Well, he played it from both sides, so I understand that. I didn't think it was a hate-hate relationship, primarily because of my relationship with Steve Young. We were really close friends, and I had an enormous respect for the players that I played against, as well as their coaching staff. I thought they were a really well-coached team. I thought we were a well-coached team. I think that Charles comes at it from a little bit of a different perspective, but I think overall, it was 2 organizations that had great admiration and respect for one another.
This year's Niners finished the year on a 7-2 run. Cowboys finished 5-1, but I don't know that anyone really thinks of them as a hot team right now. How do you handicap the matchup?
Well, I think Dallas. You can only play who you play, but their wins at the end of the season weren't against real competitive teams. San Francisco kind of dug themselves a hole. They did it the reverse. They dug themselves a hole to begin the season and then played really strong and have beaten some good teams, including the win last week against the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's going to be a great game. I do think this is going to be a real challenge when you're talking about in the wild card round against a team that won the division with Dallas. That I don't know that they could have picked maybe a less fortunate opponent for them, because I think San Francisco is really tough-minded. They play a different style of football than most teams in the NFL right now. They remind me a lot of the teams that I was a part of, just very physical, and they run the football, and then their play action game off of that. But with that said, I've said it many times this year, I do think that this is a Dallas team that has the best chance that they've had in a long time of doing the things that they went into the year hoping that they could, and that is to take home a Super Bowl title.
What do you think a win would mean for Dallas, especially within that pursuit of finally being the team that Cowboys fans have wanted for so long?
Well, this is a team that is expected to win this game, and it's expected to win the next game, whoever that is that they may play. I think the frustration for the Cowboys as well as Cowboys fans is that they haven't gotten out of the divisional round in quite some time. So there's high expectations for this team. I think anything short of a championship game appearance will be a big disappointment for this football team. And I'm sure that I can speak for those within the organization. I'm sure in their minds, anything short of making it to the Super Bowl is going to be a big disappointment to them.
You mentioned the game in Candlestick in '92. In talking with Daryl Johnston yesterday, he talked about how important that game was and how impressive that performance was for you guys. He said he feels that's the best performance you guys ever put on the field as a group. And he said that moment post-game when Jimmy Johnson first utters, "How about them Cowboys?" He said that was kind of proof positive that you guys had arrived, that you guys had finally brought it all to fruition. Is that how you feel about it?
Yeah, I think that throughout that '92 season, we knew we were having a good year. We knew we were a pretty good team, but it was that day, that afternoon in Candlestick Park, that we knew that our path was never going to be the same, and that we were kind of the big kids on the block. We were no longer sitting at the kids' table, if you will. That we had arrived and we knocked off Goliath, and we had a chance then to go play the Buffalo Bills and win a world championship. And so the way we viewed ourselves, and maybe in a lot of ways the way anyone else viewed us in the football world, forever changed.
Your three games will always mean the most to you, obviously, but the earlier games, the '70s game, the catch in '82, do you have significant memories of those games? How much of that resonates for you?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I was living in California for a good part of my childhood growing up. I was a Rams fan as a kid, so I remember a lot of those games. But for the Dallas games, I certainly was aware of it once I came to Dallas. I knew of the catch, and it wasn't until I got ready for that game, once the matchup came that we were going to be playing the 49ers in the championship game. That's when I think we all got a real education on exactly what those matchups had meant back with Montana and Danny White, and Tom Landry, and all of those that were involved.
Yeah, I imagine a good bit of that is going on right now with the current group, getting that education about just how much this really means.
Yeah, you know what you realize is when you get out of the game, you've been out as long as I have now, 21 years, that it's these games, it's the success of the organization that then makes people kind of remember your accomplishments as a player. This is the first time in a couple of seasons that I've been asked to do an interview and reflect back on my playing days against a particular opponent, because that's who the Cowboys are matched up against. So I think the NFL got a great matchup here in the wild card game between two storied franchises with a lot of history together. And the fact that people are reliving some of the great moments between these organizations is pretty cool for all of us.
Yeah, we talked with Everson Walls yesterday, too. He said something similar, that the success of Trayvon Diggs is kind of bringing him back to the forefront a little bit.
I guess that's why I keep pulling for Dak, so no one will forget who I am.
That's awesome. Cowboys legend Troy Aikman. Troy, thanks so much for the time. Enjoy the games this weekend.
You got it. Thanks so much.